Yosemite Valley has been sculpted by torrential water and thick slabs of ice. But today, another hidden force is shaping this magnificent landscape. It's 6:52 p.m., July 10th, 1996. Yosemite is hit by a catastrophic rockfall. Within minutes, a huge dust cloud of pulverized rock engulfs the valley. News spreads that Happy Isles, the busiest trail in the valley, has been decimated. Yosemite is in a state of emergency.
When I got here, the devastation was really in full force. I saw trees that were just everywhere. There were ambulances, and chaos just was everywhere. People were running around screaming, and the whole area looked like a bomb had gone off.
80,000 tons of rock had suddenly dislodged from the cliff face.
The weight of 1,600 trucks basically fell down. It hit and then exploded, and they created a wind blast.
As strong as a tornado, the wind blast uprooted trees a half-mile away from the impact zone.
We can have about 3,000 people go up and down that trail in one day. And so we did not know how many people were trapped under the trees. And tragically, a young man was pinned by a tree and was killed, and a young woman was trapped under a tree and is paralyzed.
A deadly, mysterious force is continually at work in Yosemite, causing the surface layers of the ultra-tough Yosemite granite to peel away in huge chunks. One large rockfall occurs every week in the park, and yet up to 4 million people visit Yosemite each year, getting perilously close to these potentially unstable cliffs. To discover what's causing Yosemite's incredibly tough granite to fall down, researchers have dotted vibration sensors and solar-powered seismic stations all over Yosemite's cliffs, enabling them to listen to the rocks.
This computer allows me to see what's going on all the time. For example, if I throw this rock at the cliff over there, I just created a mini rockfall. And take a look. And these spikes are the rock hitting the cliff and then tumbling down. This is a mini rockfall that happened right here. So the station will pick up rockfalls that happen that are small right here, but it'll pick up larger ones in other places.
This seismic listening device has pinpointed a recent rockfall behind Half Dome. It's a chance for Valerie Zimmer to investigate why Yosemite's rocks are falling down. And all the evidence indicates another cataclysmic event has occurred.
Oh, look at this. All of these trees have been knocked over like they're toothpicks. These rocks range from the size of a house to just dust.
Analysis of the seismic data shows this was a massive rockfall, one of the biggest in the last 20 years. It shook the ground so hard it was the equivalent of a magnitude 2.4 earthquake.
If you look up on that mountain, the amount of rocks that came down, you look up high, it doesn't look like a big area, but it's deceivingly large. It's probably the size of maybe 40 houses altogether.
Strangely, immediately above the scarred rock face, a new dome is forming. Mysterious domes are forming all over the valley. The most famous, Half Dome. Glaciers cleaved its vertical face, but its dome top has been shrouded in mystery. A strange underlying force is sculpting these peaks into domes, causing the rocks to tumble down. North of Yosemite, on the dome at Olmsted Point, it's possible to get close enough to investigate why the surface layers of granite are shattering.
These domes are all over the place. I see these layers running parallel to the surface. They're almost like the layers of an onion. And the layers are starting to peel off. In fact, look right here, this one is coming apart.
The outer surface of the rock has fractured into layers, running over the summit and down the sides of the dome.
These are weaknesses in the rock. It's obvious that there must be some sort of force that's causing the rock to break in this way and peel apart like an onion.
The only force capable of fracturing the ultra-tough Yosemite granite like this originates deep within the Earth. 100 million years ago, the Yosemite granite is beginning to form. Submerged beneath 2 miles of volcanic rock, it's squashed and squeezed from every direction. Over the next 40 million years, the volcanic roof erodes away. The immense downward pressure is removed, leaving these titanic forces out of balance. The surface of the exposed Yosemite granite is now an avenue through which this pent-up pressure can be released.
The granite is still being squeezed from the sides and from the bottom, but at the surface it's free to move. What happens is these layers start to open up, parallel to the surface.
The release of this ancient pressure causes the surface of the granite to fracture into onion layers, which then peel away.
And so when the tops of those mountains fall off, you're left with rounded domes.
But it's not just the granite peaks that are affected. It's the cliffs, too.
These layers will also form if the ground surface is vertical, like a cliff, creating vertical fractures alongside the cliff. These vertical fractures allow the rock to then slide out and create rock falls. And this is one of the major contributing factors to rock falls in Yosemite.
Yosemite's catastrophic rock falls are the legacy of its prehistoric birth beneath the Earth 100 million years ago. The gradual release of this ancient pent-up pressure has created an untamed and dynamic landscape.
Rockfall is a natural process and is part of the ongoing evolution of Yosemite National Park. I always get a little bit tickled when people ask me questions like, what are you going to do to prevent future rockfalls? It's a constant reminder that this is a wild place and that there's nothing we can do or should do to tame it in any way, shape, or form, but it's something that after I'm long gone will continue to happen.
For the last 150 years, scientists have been figuring out how this magnificent valley formed. They found volcanic rocks, proof that the molten granite cooled deep beneath the Earth. Large crystals, evidence that Yosemite granite cooled slowly, creating tough, faultless rock. Rapids downstream show that the Merced River cut a deep V-shaped canyon. And rocks carried by a glacier, conclusive evidence that ice carved Yosemite's steep cliffs and flattened its valley floor. Yosemite,